Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is just going to be an amazing show because I'm having the most amazing person in show business on here today, Geri Jewell. You may remember her as Cousin Geri on The Facts of Life. Yes, I can't believe it. I'm having her on today to talk about her amazing career in show business and her amazing life of battling cerebral palsy. I've been Facebook friends with her for close to 8 or 9 years now, and I was able to set up an interview with her, and I'm so excited. She's just an amazing person, and talk to her about all that stuff, and I let her know that I was disabled as well, and it's going to be a pretty good show. I can't wait. So, yeah, here is my interview with Geri Jewell. Hi, Geri.
Hi, Tommy. Colin gave me the wrong number of an interviewer that's interviewing me next month.
Oh.
I kept calling this guy and goes, Geri.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a radio show. Yeah, well, I'm looking for Tommy, but there's no Tommy. He goes, oh, are you Geri Jewell? And I said, yes. No, I'm scheduled to interview you next month. And I said, oh, okay. Goodbye.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm not as confused now.
Well, Geri, this is such an honor because I've admired and adored you for so long because I grew up with Asperger's syndrome and Simpson-Galabi syndrome, and I was performing.
Oh, okay.
I was performing as early as age 3, and when I was old enough to appreciate the facts of life more, I thought you were so inspiring and hilarious. So I thank you for coming on today. This is just a gift in my life.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
My pleasure. And just so you know, Geri, I'm not easily offended, so swear all you want.
Not on Deadwood.
Okay.
I mean, I am. But, no, I don't make it a regular practice. Unless you piss me off.
Okay. So, going back to the beginning, was performing something that was on your radar early on?
Yes and no. I started performing in 1978, October to be exactly, at the Comedy Store. And the first night I performed, I got a standing ovation. I think just because I had the guts to keep going. And I walked on stage and I thought, wow. See, back then we were given 5 minutes on open mic night. I don't think comedians even get 5 minutes on open mic night anymore.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes is a lot of time. And then the second week I came back and did this same show and bombed. I walked off stage and I'm walking down Sunset Boulevard and I don't want to stop a million. and my friends come running after me, Geri, what's the matter? And I said, I bombed. And I said, so what? They said, so what? That's a part of the territory. You're not going to do great every time. And I looked at John and Alex and I said, well, does Bob hope bomb? and I'm sure he does, although he doesn't hope he does. But I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
So, and when they put the red light on a comedian to get off stage,
Yeah.
we've gone over their time.
Yeah.
In all my years of performing, 4 decades, I guess now, I've only gotten that red light maybe once or twice because I never go over it. And I think a part of that reason is because I'm like, oh God, thank God it's over. I can walk up there. I didn't enjoy the physical aspect of holding that mic still in front of my mouth. And when you have CP, you got a lot of physical challenges on top of the challenge to be funny. So because it was physically hard, nobody knew that except me, because I know what my body's doing and I know where that mic wants to go. No, bring it close to your mouth. No, bring it back. And I hated it. And the physical aspect of it. So when I got back to life, I stopped doing stand-up for about 4 years. I wouldn't do it. I thought I'd never do it again. Mm-hmm. And I was wrong. Because back to life ended, and what did I have to do? I had to go back to the stage and do stand-up again. And basically start over again in 1985. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I said a mouthful.
That's okay. Who are your comedy influences?
Oh, truthfully, I never wanted to be a stand-up comic. I didn't know what a stand-up comic was. I don't know if you know Alex Valdez. Do you know of him or ever meet him?
It sounds familiar.
Alex Valdez was a stand-up comic who was blind, and he taught me into this. And he told me that all you have to do is go to the comedy store and tell jokes. And I said, Alex, I can see just fine. And he said, no, not blind jokes. You can't sample comedy jokes. And I was so naive at the time, Tommy. I thought the comedy store was like a grocery store, and you find an aisle and you stand in it. So you tell jokes.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was getting into. And so my inspirations, I don't think were really stand-up. I think my inspiration was Carol Burnett, was Lucille Ball, I had the gift to be funny. You know, I always wanted to be a comedic actress, but there was no way I could make that leap, having cerebral palsy. I had to make a name for myself somehow before I could make that leap, because I wasn't going to open fashion doors being hearing impaired and having cerebral palsy. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I was right. And Norman Lear discovered me. He saw me do stand-up and cast me on Fast 6 months later.
Wow. So Norman Lear discovered you.
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm. Did he try to get you on one of his sitcoms?
Well, Fast Life was his sitcom. He wrote the Cousin Geri treatment.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But I was way before my time. I mean, when Norman Lear saw me perform, he came up to me and said, you know, you're really funny, kid, but you're way before your time. And I said, so wait a couple months. And he said, no, about 10 years. And he was right. I was way before my time. Nobody really knew what to do with me at the time. And Fast Life, I think, tried to submit me for an Emmy every time I did an episode. And the problem was, you know, before me, all you ever saw of disability were dramatic things. Like, oh my God, they can't do this. jump into the thing and I say, hey, I can tell what Barbie is funny. I don't even think any people knew what to do with that. And I think if Facts of Life had made one real dramatic episode, and let me be funny later, I probably would have got a better chance at getting an Emmy, but I never did, to the disappointment, I think, of a lot of people. I mean, I was too young to care, truthfully, and I think that's my, how do I say it? That's what keeps me humble even today. I don't really, I'm very easily approachable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who I really am. You know, does that make any sense?
It does. It does. You've got that insecure performer, in you.
Exactly.
Now, I mean...
And so you do stand-up too, right?
Yes, I've been doing stand-up for 13 years now.
Oh, wow. And do you get pleasure from it?
Do I what?
Do you get pleasure from it? Are you having your head too tight?
I get a lot of pleasure from performing stand-up, and I think it's my true calling.
Okay.
It definitely is, But growing up in the 60s and 70s with cerebral palsy and wanting to be, and eventually getting into show business, I mean, it must have been hard even back then. You must have had a lot of haters saying that it wasn't going to be possible for you.
I did, but I think my hearing impairment was for me. I didn't hear half of it. I was like, oh, you thought I couldn't do that? I didn't hear a lot of the criticism. In fact, I remember when I think it was the LA Times came to review my show at the Comedy Store, and I had only been doing comedy for about 3 or 4 months at that time.
Yeah.
They wrote this huge article in the calendar section with all these photos of me saying, wow, she's incredible, she's new, nobody's done this. And this girl has such an incredible self-confidence. I mean, she acts as if she has no record. Because I've never heard them. They would heckle me and I'd keep along to my next job. So I frustrated my hecklers. And I was like, have hecklers? I didn't know that. I think the only a couple of times have I ever been able to come back with a heckler. There was one time, and it was at the Comedy Store, and I was doing a good step, and everybody laughed, and after everybody stopped laughing, and I was ready to go into my next bit, this one man started laughing, wouldn't let me go into my next line, and he did it again and again and again. And you know, as comedians, the audience is not going to help you. You have to help yourself, right? They're not going to jump in and save you. You got to save yourself. You got to be ready.
Yeah.
Right? So, after about the 4th time of doing that, the audience is getting really uncomfortable because they don't know what to do with it. And I could hear him laughing. I didn't have to hear words he was saying, try to read lips or anything, because laughter is laughter, and I heard that. So I said, sir, it takes you a long time to get my jokes, doesn't it? And he didn't laugh at that, but the audience did. And I said, in fact, we all love your laughter because it's so by itself. I mean, nobody else is laughing with you. In fact, we like it so much, we want you to come up on stage. And every time I say a joke, just laugh that way. So the audience is in double pleasure. He slammed his drink down and walked out. And the audience applauded. because I saved myself. They didn't save me.
Wow, that's beautiful. How did the Facts of Life come to you?
Well, I told you Facts of Life came from Norman Lear.
Right. Oh, that's right. From Norman Lear. That first episode that you did is, to me, one of the biggest landmarks in TV history, because not only did you become the first disabled person to be a series regular on a sitcom, but it's also a very funny and poignant episode. And I still quote your line, "Questions don't hurt, ignorance does."
I get that quote to this day, and I have to tell you, it's a brilliant quote, and it wasn't mine. The writers wrote it, and I give them credit for that brilliant line. I did write some of the comedy material. I was taken right out of my nightclub act, but I did not write that one. One brilliant, beautiful line. And bring it up even today. It's been like, what, 30 years? Something like that.
Yeah, almost 40 years coming up.
Yeah. Oh, I just aged myself, didn't I?
It's okay. It seems like yesterday. I remember that joke you had about working at Shakey's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was one of my first jokes, I think.
Oh, really? It's one of your
Way
first?
back when.
Wow.
And my T-shirt, I don't have cerebral palsy, I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And they used that on Fact of Life, and there's a funny story behind that T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You're a struggling comic. You don't have that much money. I didn't have, a lot of money. And so I only had one T-shirt. So I had to wash it every week. And when I had that T-shirt made, this is going to crack you up.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know how to spell cerebral palsy. And I had it for 21 years, and I didn't know how to spell it. So I'm at the mall, and she's telling me, okay, how do you spell cerebral palsy? And I spelled palsy with an E, and there is no E in palsy. So that original T-shirt had an E in it. It wasn't until doing that bit for about until I got back to life, actually. And when I got back to life, Woodrow got a brand new T-shirt, because mine was all body stained,
Yeah.
sweating on stage. And I didn't realize that palsy was still wrong. And they gave me this T-shirt for the episode, and I said, oh, that's how you spell cerebral palsy. And so the next time I did stand-up, my line was, I said, I just did an episode of Facts of Life that you probably all saw last month. And you see, cerebral palsy is spelled correctly in that episode. I put an extra E in palsy, and there is no E. And my God, that T-shirt cost me 35 cents a letter. I could have saved 35 cents a letter. I could have saved 35 cents if I left the E.
Yeah. I remember that. Do you have a lot of happy memories of working on that show?
Yeah, a lot of happy memories of working on that show. That was a surreal time. It felt dreamlike. There was no cable television like today.
Yeah.
Only NBC, CBS, and ABC. So I felt like a rock star. Well, not really. I felt like David Cassidy. He was my idol. Because at that time, if I went to Disneyland, I was mobbed. And I only did 12 episodes of Facts of Life, but millions of people knew me overnight.
Yeah.
And I don't think it takes a lot longer to get there.
Yeah, it certainly does. What were you sad when you were written out of the show?
Of course I was. I don't know if you read my autobiography. Did you read my autobiography? I'm walking as straight as I can.
I haven't read the book, not yet.
Well, you should read it because I think you'll enjoy it, being a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And the decision to write me out of the show was my new manager. And he thought for sure that if I walk away from what they offered me, that they would come back with a better offer. And I trusted that that would happen, and it didn't. So when I didn't accept their offer the fifth season, they said, okay, well, bye-bye. And I was like, no! And it was because the fifth season, they only wanted me for one episode, the whole season, which was a slap in the face. I mean, my manager was correct, but it didn't play out the way he thought or I thought. So it was very bittersweet.
Wow. And we just recently lost Charlotte Rae. That was pretty sad, wasn't it?
It was. But I'm grateful that the last 10 years of her life, I spent a lot of time with her.
Oh.
And and so I'm so grateful for that. And coming full circle with Charlotte, and I love her. I have a lot of respect for her. And if you read my book, you'll understand some of the issues that I had with Charlotte. And so I was able to resolve all of it, and she too. And that was wonderful. That was such a blessing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Here's something I've always wanted to ask you. You had a cameo in Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. How did that happen?
I did have a cameo in Nice Dreams, and I auditioned for that because Tommy Chong and Mary and Cheech were auditioning all people with, a lot of people with disabilities and comedians were in that film. And I got the role of a mental patient in that film. In my mind, my mental illness was I thought that I was a waitress. So I would walk around the mental institution with my pad and pencil taking orders.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, that's hilarious.
It would have been very funny. I mean, they even had me, with Mary Sheep that was in a straight jacket. And, he was in a straight jacket and a padded cell. And somebody gave him acid. And in his acid trip, he saw me doing stand-up comedy. And what happened was, in order to work on that film, the insurance company told Cheech and Chong that they would not allow me to be hired on the film unless I signed another contract that I wasn't going to walk anywhere. They were terrified of covering me because I walked the way I did. They didn't want me to trip over a table or whatever. So I had to sign this agreement that I would be transported by vehicle every time I was on set. And after working on the movie for about 3 weeks, I had a real early call, like about 4:30 in the morning, and I had to drive from Hermosa Beach, where I was living at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was real tired. I wasn't a morning person. And I get there like about, 4:25. I had 5 minutes to get on that set. And we had to park in a parking lot on Sunset Boulevard and then walk up this long hill to where we were filming. And I parked the car and I started to walk up the hill and they stopped me. Jerry, you can't do that. Yes, I can. Watch me. You're not no, you'll get in trouble. You'll get in trouble. You have to get real cut. So he's on the radio saying, hey, do you have a card for Jewel? She's down here. She needs to be transported up to this, that. And nobody did. So I'm like, will you just let me walk up to him? Just don't tell anybody. No, that's not meeting your contract. So the truck comes around the corner and he stops the driver. Hey, man, are you going up to the Splat? Yeah, man. Well, you can do a lot up there. You know, she can't walk up down here. Okay. So he punched me on the back of the truck and he said, now hold on. Well, of course, I let go. And I got off the truck. And I sprained my wrist and broke my thumb and finger, and I was rushed to the ER, and I had a cast halfway up my arm when I came back, and that's why I was in the film. Mm-hmm. Because they couldn't match any of the other shots with what I had already in the can, because I had a friggin' cast on my arm. And it ended up being a blessing in disguise, because Teaching Tom's Nice Dreams came out shortly after I was on Facts of Life.
Yeah.
The Facts of Life had known that I was in Teaching Tom's film, they would have been livid. After the G-rated show. No!
Timothy Leary did a cameo too in it.
Yes, he did. He was signing autograph pictures for everybody. At least when he wasn't on set. He was an interesting character. He really was. I really enjoyed my time with, God, there were so many people in that movie. I think Paul Rubens was in the movie.
Yep.
God, who else?
Michael Winslow.
Yes. But I have my time with Lenny Bruce's mother was in the movie.
Oh.
So, yeah. So that was an incredible education about Lenny Bruce that we all got from her.
Wow.
It was a wonderful stuff. I mean, I got my sad cards with the drums, but no footage, and that's okay. It wasn't meant to be. I firmly believe that there are really no accidents in life. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I truly believe that myself. Last night, I watched that TV movie of the week you did, Two of a Kind.
Oh, yeah, with Robbie Williams.
And George Burns. What was that experience like?
Well, Robbie was a sweetheart, and we're still very close to this day. He's just a wonderful human being, a great actor.
Oh.
And this is a part of being here in the church. You missed half of it. I didn't even know that I was working with George Burns, and I had walked by him several times. I didn't recognize him because I didn't know he was bald. He wore a toupee. It wasn't until I knocked on his trailer door and wanted him to sign a picture for a friend, and he asked me the door, and he was bald, and I said, you do this? Oh my God, I saw you all day yesterday. And he said, yeah, I saw you too.
Wow. Yeah, George Burns was like 86 years old at that time.
I know. He was so sweet. He really was. He was laughing. He said, oh, you're George Burns. Oh, yeah, you're George Burns.
What was Cliff Robertson like?
Oh, he was wonderful. And then years later, in 85, I performed at the White House. And Cliff Robertson was the MC of that show. So we met up again and I worked with him twice.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, he was like he had like the career of like a major star, but yet he didn't consider himself one. He considered himself a hired gun. He was so humble.
Yeah, that's true. That was his energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I only would, if I had to do everything can, I just knew hearing aids back then. Because the reason why these hearing aids are so wonderful is because they don't whistle. It took a lot of years of figuring out technology of how do you improve somebody's hearing with cerebral palsy. Because in the early stages of hearing aids, if I moved my head in any direction, my hearing aids would whistle. So I never wore them. I missed the opportunities to talk to people and engage in conversation. In fact, a friend of mine said to me one time, Geri, so many comedians think that you step up. And I said, what? I'm not stepping
What?
up. Well, because every time you do a show, people say, hey, wonderful set. Yeah, hey, Geri. And you're already walking to the car. Anybody giving you compliments. And I'm running behind to say she didn't use. That was always a drawback because I missed a lot of socialization. I always did, even when I was a kid, because I didn't hear well. And there were no hearing aids that really helped me. I had a good whistle every time I moved my head. But these are wonderful. They have not whistled once in this conversation. I'm impressed.
Oh, that's good. They're working.
I know. I wore them in Deadwood. I wore them in filming the Deadwood movie. And they hid them with a wig you couldn't see it because they didn't have hearing aids in the 1800s. So they hid the hearing aids under the wig, which is another incredible thing because if you put a hat or a wig on top of those hearing aids, they'd whistle, not these.
Yeah.
You can hide them completely.
You got to write and guest star on an episode of 21 Jump Street. How did that come about?
I wrote the treatment for that, and I had met Stephen Cannell at a party, and we talked for about an hour. So in 1990, I contacted him and asked him if he would look at an episode of 21 Jump Street that I wrote for my staff, and he said, yeah, absolutely. And they got the treatment, and that's how that came about.
Mm-hmm. But Johnny Depp wasn't in that episode, was he?
No, he wasn't. To my disappointment. I was so bummed, but he was filming Crybaby at the time.
Oh.
And it wasn't meant to be, and I had a wonderful relationship with, oh God, why do I draw a blank? I see him, and Peter DeLuise.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was wonderful, and we had a lot of things. He said, what a sweetheart he was. So that was the journey with Peter, not with Johnny.
Wow. Was Holly Robinson in that episode?
Oh, yeah, he was in it.
Mm-hmm.
He was a sweetheart. I didn't have a lot of scenes with him. Most of my scenes were with Peter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny how they made a movie, or they made two movies out of that show with Jonah Hill a few years ago. It's funny how they did those.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't come close to the original series, but they did it.
Well, the Deadwood movie is going to surpass even the series, I think. We achieved it with Deadwood, okay?
Yeah. We'll get to that in a moment. I wanted to ask, though, you did an episode of The New Lassie.
Of what?
the new Lassie?
Oh my God! Did you do your homework? Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that episode because Al Burton was the executive producer. He was also the executive producer when I first was on Back. And so I went to see him and said, "Hey, Al, I need some more." He goes, "Okay, let's do that." Okay. So Al Burton made that possible, and that's what I met Dee Wallace.
Yes.
And it was wonderful working with her. And I played a doctor on that show. And lastly, Jimmy was the better dog. I shouldn't say that publicly. But, but they had two dogs. They had a dog who did all the work and the dog that was for the close-up. And the close-up shots were all Lassie, and all the work was Jimmy. And Lassie was a bit of a star, a bit of a diva. And we didn't have a great rapport like Jimmy and we had nice Lassie. She was beautiful, but Jimmy was more down to earth.
Yeah, Dee Wallace has been on this podcast, and I've met her at a couple conventions. I adore her a lot.
Ah, okay. Yes, she's wonderful. She's a friend of mine today.
Mm-hmm. Was John Provost already gone? Because he was in the series at the beginning.
Oh yeah, he wasn't involved in the new Lassie.
Okay.
No.
When you were on the Young and the Restless, was it difficult for you to memorize all that dialogue without stopping?
Yeah, because there was a lot of dialogue, but you don't realize how hard soap operas are. I mean, you have to really know your stuff, and you don't have time to rehearse the scene over and over like on Factor Life. You just do it, and they had two cars, and there was a hearing aid issue again. There was always hearing aid issues. I was always afraid of not hearing my cues. And the sound people said, "Hey, we're hearing a high-pitched whistle every time you speak." Oh, darn it. So I had the double anxiety of taking my hearing aids out and doing the dialogue and just hoping that I said it at the right time because I didn't always hear my cues.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And even when I did 21 Jump Street, you're going to love this story. I had a scene with Peter Delaware, and he was saying his lines, and I was saying his lines, and he got really frustrated and confused at one point. And we're filming it. And he said, "And who the hell has a fucking teapot?" And it was me. What I had done was, I took out my hearing aids. And you have to understand, I'm hearing impaired. So I don't hear that high-pitched whistle. I didn't know that my hearing aids were on.
Mm-hmm.
I took them out because I knew there'd be a problem, and I stuck them in my jacket. So they were whistling from the pocket. Oh, that missed me.
Wow. So let's get into Deadwood. How did you get involved with the series?
2002, I had neck surgery in '99, and I honestly thought my career was over by that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't think I'd work again. And I was in line at a pharmacy in Santa Monica because I get Kovac injections every month in my neck for chronic pain. And I was in line. It was very early in the morning. I had no Botox in me. I was in such huge pain. I looked like shit. I think I was wearing pajamas and a blazer over that. I didn't think anybody would recognize me. I thought, I'm just going to collect this Botox and take it to the doctor and let him inject it in the neck. And I was standing there, this man comes around and goes, oh my God, are you Geri Jewell? I wanted to say, no, I wasn't. Because I looked like shit. And I was very embarrassed that he recognized me. And I said, well, yeah, I am. And he said, well, I'm a huge fan of yours. I mean, you've inspired me. You've made me laugh. I love you. And I said, well, thank you, sir. And I'm thinking, that was before I had that surgery. That was years ago. I wasn't bitter. I just felt that I hadn't reinvented myself. I didn't see myself ever performing again. And I said, well, I'm really glad I was able to do that for you. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with me. And he said, well, I haven't seen you on TV in a long time. Well, what are you doing with your life now? And I said, Botox. And he laughed. He said, well, you want a television station? And I said, look, just because I'm in a pharmacy, it doesn't mean I'm fucked up. I said, don't play with my mind in a pharmacy. And he said, no, in case you don't recognize me, I'm David Milch. And my eyes got wide, and I said, David Milch, the executive producer of NYPD Blue? He said, yes. And I said, well, Mr. Milch, I'm flattered that you like my work, but let's get real. I make a real shitty pop. He said, no, I just signed a contract with HBO. I'm doing a new Western called Deadwood. You want to do a Western? And I had been out of the loop for so long. I didn't know what HBO was. I was recovering from surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was going to be like Gunsmoke, and I was going to be Miss Kitty. And I looked up at the ceiling as far as my titanium nest would let me. And I said, God, you have a real quickie thing to do. I mean, I'm standing here with cerebral palsy, a titanium nest, you're putting on Botox, and David Milch wants me to ride a horse. And he wrote his phone number on a prescription pad for Prozac. And he told me to call him. And he was a man of his word. And in fact, I was the very first character that was ever cast on Deadwood Project, even before anybody else.
Wow.
And I think, like I said, I was in the right place at the right time, was meant to be.
Yes. I was so happy when I saw the show and I saw that you were in it because, I hadn't seen you in anything for a long time, and I was happy that you got on. And I'm such a huge fan of Walter Hill and stuff. To me, he's the most... He's the most...
Yeah, he directed the first episode, yeah.
Yeah, he's the most underrated and most misunderstood auteurs of the action film genre, I think.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. At the time, I was bleaching my hair blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And I had met him with David in at Paramount. And he said, and David's really excited about me. And he said to Walter, he said, so what do you think? This is who I've been talking about. What do you think, Walter? And he said, well, I like it, but the blonde hair has got to go. Okay. So I redid my hair the original color, which was its real color, which was brunette. So I guess they had tricked me with a blonde and made it more. And I think other blondes on the show, they had too many blondes. So, Walter was great to work with. He loved me. I just resented that he made me got my hair brunette.
I heard that before Ian McShane was hired. I heard that David Milch tried to get Ed O'Neill.
I heard that also, and that is very true.
Yeah. Yeah, like Chris Albrecht didn't want Al Bundy to be playing the lead in this series.
I know, and I think people don't realize how talented that man
Oh,
He got typecast and married with children, but he's a wonderful actor, going back years to stage acting. Very nice guy, too.
yeah.
But he didn't get it for the very reason I just mentioned. And Ian McShane got it, and Ian is just incredible. He's just a phenomenal actor to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You got to work with Johnny Depp, and I didn't.
What's it like working with Gerald McRaney?
Wonderful. He was like, the thing about Deadwood is that it was the most amazing ensemble cast I have ever worked with. And we all supported one another. There was no ego ever, even in the movie, not any ego. And that's so rare in Hollywood. It was just such an incredible supportive show to be a part of. And we all loved one another. And that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And we all supported each other.
Oh, that's great. Is there anything at all about the movie that you can talk about?
I can't say a whole lot at this point, but you do know that it's about 10 years later.
Yeah.
And so they did age me. And, I looked like my grandmother. They were listening there. Oh, my God. And at the time, what a lot of people don't know also is that I had lower back surgery in July. And only in the last couple of months have I gotten my old mobility back to a good degree. And when I got sick with this, I panicked. I was like, oh my God, how can I do this? I can't even, I'm in so much pain. I haven't recovered from surgery. And so I called production and I said, can I speak to David Mills? Well, he's not taking any calls right now. Can we give him a message? And I said, yeah. I said, tell him that Geri Jewell called and that I had back surgery on July 12th. And I didn't recover as quickly as I thought I would, or the surgeon thought I would, and it's very physical therapy, occupational therapy, blah, 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 blah. So if he wants to hire another jewel, that's fine with me. And there was this silence on the line, and she said, are you sure you want me to tell him that? And I said, yes, because it's the truth. I don't know if I can do it. And David Mills called me the next day, and he said, Jay, it's David. And I said, hi, David. And he said, I got you this. Yeah. And, I said, I'm going to do that with you, and I don't care if I have to be with your physical ability, and if I have to give you a wheelchair accessible training, whatever you need, we'll make it work, even if you do it, whether you like it or not. And it was a shot in the arm that I needed because I had come through so much. And the next surgery, the lower back surgery was very hard on me. And I lost my sister 2 years ago. My younger sister was very, very hard on me. So I was, at the end of my rope and how I was going to survive. And again, David Mills pops up. It's like, for me, he's my angel. He's yes with me twice. Once the pharmacy. And he told me I was going to be through it, whether I believed I could do it or not. And I did it. And I'm so proud of myself. And I'm so grateful for David for believing in me after all these years.
Yes, that's truly a gift you've got there. Is there a role that you haven't played yet that you want to play?
I'm sure there are. I don't have a lot of auditioning experience, and it's my weakness. In about 40 years, I've had 30 auditions, maybe 35 at the most. And that's what most practices have in a month.
Mm-hmm.
2 months. And so I'm not a good auditioner. And if you think about it, most of the opportunities that I've gotten there's a lot of roles I would like to do. I'm older now. You know, we'll see how Deadwood goes. Yeah, I don't think they're getting one dream role. Not really. There was when I was younger. There were couple of dream roles that never happened because then I got old and couldn't do it. But one of them was to play the glass menagerie. I wanted to play Laura.
Mm-hmm.
That never happened. And then there was another movie, The Secret Garden or something like that. The Enchanted Garden. And I wanted to do that. And those two things never happened. I could possibly still do The Enchanted Garden if they did the remake of that. It's an old movie. It's wonderful. And those are the other two dream roles. If they're a bucket list, it's who I want to work with. It's not the role itself. If I'm given an opportunity to do a role, I'll try my best. You know, working with people is my joy, not the role itself. Like if I got to work with Carol Burnett, my idol, that would be wonderful. You know, just, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. There is no real big deal.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever?
I would like to know not to have cerebral palsy. I mean, I'm going to have it, but it doesn't have to be an integral part of everything I do. And even on Facts of Life, as groundbreaking as it was, the whole emphasis was the fact that I had cerebral palsy. I couldn't escape that. And the irony of that is that I thought in my childlike mind as a kid that if I became an actor, I wouldn't have to have cerebral palsy anymore. I could be whoever I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that never really happened.
Have you ever thought about doing a one-woman show?
I have. I might. I don't know. I'm in transition now. I want to see how Deadwood goes. I want to see what the public response to my work is. And I'll decide whether I want to continue this. I'm still, dealing with neck pain from 1999. And, you know, I think my strength might be in writing now, not acting. But I could be wrong. I'm trying not to make any decisions at this point because I don't know what the response is going to be with this.
Mm-hmm. A few years back, when you made the decision that you were going to come out, how did everyone around you feel about that?
For the most part, they were very accepting. You know, my website got thousands and thousands of hits overnight when I did that. And one of the funniest things I read was, "Oh my God, Geri Jewell, I thought she was cerebral palsy."
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was. I figured at that point I had nothing to lose. I mean, I really, it was something that I struggled with during my teenage years and on. And when you're on a G-rated show in the 80s, it would have felt like it. So I stayed in the closet that time. And sexuality has always been difficult for me to wrap my brain around. I mean, because I guess I had such very little dating experience before I became famous. And then after I was famous, I had very little dating experience. I mean, I'm one of the few people who can say that I probably had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 partners in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in my 60s now. You know, I didn't know how to date. If I had to do over, as I said, my social skills. Yeah. If I had to do my life over, I would take for a longer period before I became wisdom. And I never really learned that yet.
Yeah.
And especially in the 80s, because, you know, I was like you in the 80s. Everybody wanted to date me for the wrong reason. But I was famous.
Yeah, I think that the average quote unquote normal person thinks that disabled people aren't capable of being sexually active or able to have sex, but I'm hoping to change that perception with my stand-up comedy because I talk about my sex life and anything sexual in general when I'm on stage, you know.
Yeah, it's good, and you're right. There's a belief that most people with disabilities are asexual, and that's not true. Yeah, and I got a lot of flack for it when I tried it. I mean, like, so many years said, I was way before my time. I was a joke that got me in so much hot water. And I didn't know that there was rules about words you couldn't say on television.
Yeah.
And I think I did a big class special, and I said, you know, I dated a famous producer last week. This was my way of dealing with sex on stage in the 80s. And I said, I dated this famous producer last week, and I really wanted to impress him, so I told him I didn't really have cerebral palsy, that I was just having a continuous orgasm. And you can see Dick Cross now just flop over it. I can't believe he gets such And then I added to it. I said, the funny thing is, he never knew when I was coming or going. And that one joke got me in so much hot water. I mean, when I was asked to speak at the White House in '85, there was all this controversy. I was the highest visible person with a disability in the United States on television. And yet, in the conservative mind, I was considered not a good influence on children with disabilities. She's good, she's you can call her bad news. There was that one joke that bothered people. And they almost didn't have me perform at the White House because of that joke. And ironically, the one person who came my defense was Nancy Reagan. She said, yeah, I know, she's controversial, she's a loose cannon sometimes, you don't know what's come out of it now. But she's the highest visible celebrated person with a disability, and we have to have her at the White House. We just won't give her a full 10 minutes of time, and she'll never get to that orgasm.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then shortly after that, I performed at the Kennedy Center. And I was backstage, and, you know, President Reagan was there, the top celebrities were on. As the president was there, they had all these secret service walking around with their phones in. And I was backstage, and every 10 minutes, some secret service guy would come up to me and say, now, don't count out orgasm, Joe. And I was so frightened. I was so panicked because so many different service people would come up to me and warn me not to count myself. And when I got on stage, I started to declare and I lost my voice. I couldn't even talk. I was so scared. I was so panicked and so stressed. And I walked off stage. I was in tears. I ruined my performance at Kennedy Center because I didn't even have a voice. And it was all fear. And I walked into the screen room and I was sick. I had tears in my eyes. Yes, I lost my voice. I couldn't even talk. I was so scared. I couldn't even tell myself. And he said, yeah, I know. I've never known you to be speechless. And all the years that I've known you. But you're being too hard on yourself. I said, what do you mean? I messed up the whole opportunity. And he said, no. He said, most of the people in the audience just you're adorable. And they're applauding you. And they're saying, oh, isn't she so cute? She lost her voice.
Yeah.
He was probably making me feel better. And he succeeded. He liked my music. Okay, whatever. And then he smiled. He said, and you just talking about jumping.
Oh my God, that's crazy. So, when does the Deadwood movie air?
I'm not sure. It could be April, it could be May. I haven't got a release date yet.
Okay. Well, Geri, I just can't tell you what an honor and a treat this was to speak with you today. You're just the most awesome and amazing person in the world, and you will continue to be so forever.
Thanks, Tommy. It was a pleasure talking to you, too. And I wish you all the best of luck in your own career.
Oh, thank you, Geri. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you, and have a fabulous day.
Likewise. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Geri Jewell. Ain't she a sweetheart? That's quite an understatement. She's the most amazing and the most fabulous person in the world. And I can't tell you how truly honored I am to have interviewed the most amazing woman that has ever lived and will continue to live. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. Later, dudes.